Pokemon Quest is a game we've been playing a fair bit recently because it does need recorded, of course. It needs preserved on the long play archive like any Nintendo published and owned Switch game. Let's take a look at the mechanics in this video, why don't we? So, we just got finished cooking food, which attracts Pokemon to our camp. Food cooks while we're away on expeditions, which are the stages or levels of the game, if you will. And the Pokemon we attract can be added to our party. Our party can have up to 3 Pokemon. We can also use the Pokemon we attract to train other Pokemon, which is what we're going to do with them. And we'll put in new ingredients, so this can cook while we're out on missions. The ingredients can be used to create recipes which attract different kinds of Pokemon, but I'm just going to go with random ingredients. So, you can see we have a Ponyta here, and it's level 39. We're going to use the Pokemon we attracted with our cooking in order to level up the Ponyta to level 40, thus causing it to evolve. Been waiting a long time for this Ponyta to evolve. When it does, it will get a massive boost to its HP, which will make it a far more valuable asset. Has 423 HP right now. There we go, that's much better. Now it won't die so quickly. This game contains the original 150 Pokemon, and it seems they level up and evolve in the same fashion as they do in the regular, normal Pokemon games. I do quite like the art style and the buttons in this game. I think they're very appealing to look at. Rapidash may be large, but still not too large to ride on a Pidgeotto, it seems. Right, now onto the game proper. You can see there's a power level for each of the stages, and we want our total team power level to equal that of the stage or higher. So, the game functions in real time. The AI Pokemon we have move on their own, but we can choose when the moves are used by clicking the moves down here at the bottom. We can also set the Pokemon to auto, which means they will use the moves at their own discretion. But if you set them to auto, then you will have a hard time, because they do not use the moves in an intelligent fashion in auto mode, and they also take a very long time to use the moves. So even though auto mode may seem more convenient, it greatly decreases your chances of victory. Where we are right now, I think it's called Belly Button Cave. It's not a great place for the moves and Pokemon we have currently, because the walls and little pits in the floor make it difficult for our moves to get off properly. Fire Spin is a move that generates walls of fire around Rapidash, deals massive damage. Rapidash is our heavy hitter. The Pidgeotto knows Gust, and Gust generates giant whirlwinds, like that, yeah, that swirl around the enemy. There are 3 whirlwinds you may see. There's actually only 1 by default, but if you add modifiers to the move, it creates additional whirlwinds, which you'll see later. That's why there's 3, because of modifiers. And our Onix knows Rock Tomb. Normally, Rock Tomb only fires 1 rock, but it fires 2, again, because of modifiers that we've added. Rock Tomb is probably the hardest move to hit things with, because even though Onix explicitly tries to lock on to enemies, the aiming system is a little bizarre, and he won't throw the rocks over obstacles, so if there's anything between him and what he's throwing the rock at, the rock isn't going to hit. But Onix is our tank. Rapidash is the big hitter, Onix is our tank, and our Pidgeotto just stays at a distance. Rapidash, when it was a Ponyta, died far too quickly. After evolving, it's holding up much better. We really would, yeah, it's preferable to fight in corridors like this, because when we're in a big open area, we can get swarmed. even if some of our attacks work better in open areas. The hit sounds and the art style go really well together, I think. This constant pummeling, slapping sounds with the chunky graphics looks very pleasant. I've seen people say that you don't really play this game. I don't think that's accurate. You can set it to auto mode and just grind your way to victory if you want, but you can also just mash the A button through regular Pokemon games if you really want. There's a benefit to playing actively instead of putting it in auto mode, so I would not say that this is a game that doesn't need to be played. You can play it without actually playing it, but it's not as fun or as beneficial. Reception to this game seems fairly mixed. I would say, comparing it to Super Kirby Clash, it is a little less creative, but I don't think it's any less valuable, if that makes any sense. I think there's plenty to appreciate about this game. I think it's a very enjoyable RPG with interesting mechanics, and I like that it takes some of the control out of your hands. I don't know, that might frustrate some people, but I think it adds a bit of personality. Alright, so been grinding to get past that boss for a long time. There are bits of story in between locations, or worlds, if you want to call them worlds instead. The idea is that this is a weird island, and we're exploring the island along with our flying drone, which is why we're viewing the Pokemon battles from overhead. And yeah, I want to know the secrets of this island. That's not the main motivator behind finishing the game for me, but it'd be nice to know anyway. You can get rewards for doing certain things in the game. We got the Broadburst Stone, which is a modifier we can add to an attack, as I was speaking of earlier. We'll actually look at that right now, why don't we? Most of your Pokemon's HP and attack in this game comes from stones you equip to them. You can see stones on the left, and the stones we have to equip on the right. You can change them out to increase our Pokemon's stats, and you get these stones during gameplay. So even though they get stats by leveling up as well, these stones are much more important to their stats. Right, so that third Broadburst Stone we'll look at eventually, but you can see next to the Pokemon's moves, like you can see Rock Tomb over there on the left, you can see that 2x multiplier. And that 2x multiplier is why Rock Tomb can be fired twice instead of just once. We can also recycle any stones we aren't currently using to get more ingredients to make food with. Right, so let's add that third Broadburst Stone to our Pidgeotto's Gust. And that should make it have 4 Whirlwinds instead of just 3. It should have 4 Whirlwinds now, because we added that modifier. And let's reduce the wait time on Fire Spin, why don't we? Let's reduce the cooldown. Right, and then in the next level we should see those changes take effect. We should see that Gust will now have 4 Whirlwinds instead of 3. And Fire Spin should take less long to charge. I do adore the music in this game. It's very hopeful. Very hopeful and cheery. Yeah, there are 4 Whirlwinds now. Greatly increases the chances of that move hitting. It's incredibly beneficial. But I think this game is enjoyable. There is a lot of grinding to be done if you do want to play this game. But I think it's a unique take on Pokemon, and I like the RPG-like mechanics in the stones. I think they add some interesting depth to the system. I'm glad for the lack of walls in this new location. The cave was very restrictive in that sense, but that's an intentional part of the level design. Also, type advantages are still a thing, of course, in case anyone was worried about that, but yeah, I think this is enjoyable. It's just pleasant to play.